one of the best things I did is I created a training Trello board, and it's the master training Trello board. And you start from, I don't know if you've used Trello before, but you start from the left, you complete cards, you move on, quizzes along the way, there's videos, you check mark. And so every time I hire somebody, I just duplicate the master training Trello board, and I'll call it Susan's training board. And so she will have that. And I have a Loom video on how to do it left to right, go through the cards. And so anytime I update an SOP, I just update it on the master training Trello board, and then it's ready to go for the next person that comes in. I just duplicate the whole board and send it off.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pet Business Hiring Podcast. I'm your host, Doug the Dog Guy, and I have joined here by Andrea Pollina, the owner and founder of Tails Dog Walking and Pet Sitting in Greensboro, North Carolina. Thank you so much for joining me, Andrea.
Thank you so much for having me, Doug. It's a pleasure to speak with you today.
Andrea, I know you have a team of pet sitters and dog walkers there in the Greensboro area of North Carolina. And today I would really like to get to know more about your journey in the pet care world, hear more about what it's like to be an entrepreneur and a business owner, and really dive into what led you to begin hiring and grow your team and some of the lessons that you've learned along the way. So I
Great.
would love if you could just start by telling us how and why did you start Top Tails?
Well, that is a story, as I'm sure everybody's journey is. My kids were getting older. I'd been a stay-at-home mom, so I was looking to kind of volunteer a little bit, and I contacted the Guilford County Animal Shelter back in 2019 about their dog days out, kind of getting some dogs out. And back then, it was a very complicated process for me to be able to get the dogs out. We had to do about 20 hours of training in the shelter, about 10 hours of in-class training. It was just a really kind of complicated process. And I kind of wanted to do it right away. I'm kind of one of those people that when I get an idea, I want to do it. So I went and Googled, other local rescues in Greensboro to see if there was a need. And of course, I found Rover. So I was like, well, I still want to, help dogs out that need rescued, but I can actually get paid for walking dogs. And so that's how it began. I hopped on Rover, set up my profile, got a couple of clients that way, kind of enjoyed the work, but not the platform. So I think I did that in about June. And after a couple months in September of 2019, I started Andrea's Go Fetch Pet Sitting, where your dog will have a ball. So that was kind of the tagline. And, it really took off. Of course, the pandemic happened right after that. But as soon as things started to open back up from the pandemic, I just got busier and busier and busier. And I think it was the holidays of 2022. I just realized I was just taking on more than I could possibly handle. And I just had such wonderful, caring clients that I felt so guilty saying no. Like, I have, 15 walks today. I can't squeeze you in. So I would just squeeze them in. So I think it was January, and I woke up and I had like 21 walks that day. And I was like, all right, Andrea, you either have to hire or you have to say no to clients, because it was affecting my health and, the time that I had with my children. So through a lot of mostly I use the Facebook groups to kind of get an idea of how to hire. And I did get a business coach back then and hired my first employee, Elia, in March of 2023. And I knew her. She was an acquaintance of mine, which was helpful. She's a retired teacher. And now I just hired yesterday my 14th employee. So that is where I am currently.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been a journey. Yeah.
Wow. So what were you doing before you got into all this in 2019?
So I was a stay-at-home mom. Before that, I was an attorney. And I will say having the background of being an attorney did help, just in that I don't know if I actually did the client contract right, but it didn't. I kind of felt comfortable saying it's good enough. It might not be perfect. I might not know all of North Carolina law, but I know it's good enough for what I need. So the background in law, I will say, helped me with the confidence with the contracts for both, employees and our clients. But yeah, so that was kind of what my background was. But I had taken a number of years off to stay at home with my kids, which I was lucky to do.
Yeah, that's great.
Hmm.
That's great.
Hmm.
Did you have any hiring experience or management experience before starting to hire for your own team here at Top Tails?
None at all, and I will say it was scary. Because I'm sure a lot of people are in the same position that my clients knew me, they trusted me. Greensboro's about 250,000 people, so it's not a huge city. It's a small enough town that most of my clients had been referred to me, so friends of friends, and I just didn't want to put somebody, an employee in somebody's home and not have them do what I would do. So that I took very seriously and kind of getting things in place that I knew whoever went into the home would be doing things the exact same way that I would.
That's great. That's great. I love that you were so intentional bringing on your first employees. I know I was not very intentional.
Well,
Yeah,
sometimes, and it's just sometimes you're at a point where you don't have time to be intentional. I wish I had more time to put things in place, but I kind of started with some bare bones SOPs just so that at least she knew what she was supposed to be doing. And did some training, some infield training, but it's evolved so much since then. But the luxury of time is great, but especially in the pet sitting world, you just don't have that because clients have needs.
yeah. I mean, that's incredible and also insane that you were doing so many visits all by
Hmm.
yourself. I mean,
Hmm.
how did you power through all of that? And then how did you make time with such a busy pet sitting and dog walking schedule to actually figure out how to hire?
It was a little crazy. I will say it was those that there was about a month in there where I was just trying to do too many things at once. I was rebranding. So I became Top Tails of Greensboro. I got a different website. I got time to pet. I was learning how to hire and all the legal things involved with that. So there was a lot right there that was going on for about a month. That was very stressful, I will say. But once the month was over and I had my first employee, I had a little bit of a break so that I could work on some things. It wasn't perfect, but as I said, I had to get it going. So yeah.
That's great. That's something I tell everybody that I work with is that it'll never be perfect, and that is perfectly okay. We just
Yes.
have to keep the ball rolling and keep the momentum flowing, and it'll all work out in the end.
Yes, it will. It will. And that's great advice. It will all work out just as it's supposed to.
Yeah. If you could go back to this crazy busy month when you're rebranding and figuring out how to hire and you're in the field doing all these visits, if you could tell yourself anything, give yourself any advice, what would you say? And if you could do anything differently, what would you do differently?
I guess, I stressed about, especially with the rebranding, stressed about the colors. I stressed about the logo. I had hired somebody to do the logo. I really stressed about the name because I liked Andrea's Go Fetch, but I needed it to be a little bit more general for both cats and dogs. So I stressed a lot about that, and I'm glad, I like what we came up with. But at the same time, I probably should have spent a little bit less time on that and a little more time on what was important, or at least a little bit more downtime. So I guess I would say don't sweat the small stuff, Andrea. It's okay. It'll be just fine no matter what font you choose for your logo. So yeah, I think I would say that to myself.
Yeah, that's great advice. I was also trying to rebrand my business when I transitioned my independent contractors to employees, and I spent a lot of time thinking about the colors and the brand patterns when I should have been trying to research labor laws and
Yes.
all of that
Yes.
kind of stuff. So I could definitely relate to your story there.
Yeah. And, I know that some people are still struggling with converting their ICs to employees, and I'm just so grateful that I started out with employees. And again, I knew that I wanted to train them. I wanted them to wear our logos and different things like that and use our software. So thankfully, I had good enough advice in the beginning that I started out with employees.
Yeah, that's amazing that you could jump right over that hurdle and start with employees. I didn't know what I was doing when I started, and I just didn't
Yes.
know any better. Ended up getting audited by my state's Department of Labor because I was treating my independent contractors like they were employees. And I tell everyone now that please go the employee route. If you
Yes.
want to be able to train them and control the quality of their work and have control over their schedule and all these other things, they need to be U2 employees. And that's all I teach in my positive hiring course.
So when with your audit, did it come back that you needed to switch? Is that what they said?
That is what they said. Yeah.
Okay.
They tried to hit me with a lot of fines, and luckily I had a good
Really?
attorney that was able to get me out of a lot of the fines. I got very lucky on that, but I know some pet business owners that weren't so lucky and had to shut down their business because of that. Yeah. I think it's great that you were able to skip that though and start with employees. So you did that right. What did you do wrong? What would you do differently if you could go back?
I wrote some things that I would do differently. I think one of the things that I would do differently is I would document better. Maybe it's my age 'cause I'm a little bit older, but I'll do things and then not remember how I do them. So now every time I create a document, I come up with some type of process. It goes on a Trello board so that, a month down the road, I'll be like, oh, I think I did that, but I don't really remember. And I can just go to my Trello board and be like, oh, that's how I did it. So I think if I could go back again, because I have done things so many times, like I have reinvented the wheel on the same things. So I think I would just document things better. I started using Trello for both personal and business, and it's just been so helpful I have like a mind dump column. So everything that I need to do, I can put in there. And then my processes, I can put on a card and then, move it over to where I organize it later. But just, yeah, organizing and documenting is really helpful.
Yeah, it's so important to document all of your operations and your processes and procedures. And I often say that if you're going to ask someone to perform a task and then you don't have a document showing them how to do the task, and then you get mad at them for doing it
Yes.
wrong, that's on you.
Yes, totally. I agree. And I told my trainee when I was training her yesterday, I said in the beginning, we're not nitpicky, the admin, whoever's on, but, if you didn't take a picture like you were supposed to or something like that, we'll tell you, we'll slack you a message about it. And then next time when you go in to that home or even another home, you'll have the confidence that you know that you are doing it right and taking the correct pictures instead of having to think about now what pictures do I need to take? And it's like, oh, that's right. I do need to take a picture of the locked door or what have you. So I do tell my trainees that, we're going back and telling you things just so that you're more confident and comfortable when you're in a brand new house with a brand new dog or cat. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Tell me more about how you created these documents. You mentioned Trello. Do you have any tips or tricks or advice for us to document our own procedures?
So one of the best things I did was get on Trello, and I started with just kind of my own command center of, having different documents and things like that. But then what I did, one of my friends who owns a pet sitting business, she told me that she does this, and it's one of the best things I did, is I created a training Trello board. And it's the master training Trello board. And you start from, I don't know if you've used Trello before, but you start from the left, you complete cards, you move on. There's quizzes along the way, there's videos, you check mark. And so every time I hire somebody, I just duplicate the master training Trello board, and I'll call it Susan's training board. And so she will have that. And I have a Loom video on how to do it left to right, go through the cards, and it's all right there. And so anytime I update an SOP, I just update it on the master training Trello board, and then it's ready to go for the next person that comes in. I just duplicate the whole board and send it off. So I will say Trello's been great for me.
That's great. That's great. I've played around with Trello. I don't actively use it though. You're inspiring me to take a deeper
It's
dive on that.
great. Yeah, it's great. And I will say, I know what I don't know. So I hire people because me trying to figure out, especially tech, isn't going to work. So I hired somebody that is a consultant for me for Trello, and she helped me set up, just taught me how to use Trello because my admin uses her Trello board too. And we kind of communicate back and forth through Trello and then with the training boards. So I did hire somebody to help me out to set it up. Money well spent.
Yeah, that's great. I'm a huge advocate for hiring out the tasks that you are not an expert in. That has
Yes.
saved me countless times.
Yes, yes. And I used to in the beginning, I would not spend money on anything. I ran such a lean ship, but just as you get bigger, I just don't have the time to figure it out. And I know that it's going to take me forever to figure it out. So when I got my first CRM, I hired Robert Strickland to help me with it because in setting it up, because it was going to just take me forever. So that was money well spent as well.
But yeah, we're all big fans of Robert
Yes,
Strickland, and
yes, we
he
are.
he is the AI and
Uh-huh.
automations expert for the pet
Yes.
industry.
Yes. He is amazing, amazing. I want his brain. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
It's great that we have so many tools to our disposal now, like Trello and Loom and CRM softwares and
Uh-huh.
all these other things that can really make the documentation and the implementation process so much
Yes.
easier now.
Yes.
When I started going through all this with my business back in 2014, maybe some of these things existed. If they did, I sure didn't know about them. And my first documents that I made, I was literally taking a notepad to clients' houses and handwriting the process. And then I would get home after a long day of dog walks and attempt to type it out. And now
Wow.
now we have all these tools that can just streamline the whole process and save us countless hours.
Countless. Yes. Yeah. You mentioned Loom. That's been another lifesaver. And, when I started, I was using the free Loom. You're limited to 25 videos or whatever it is, and kept doing different email addresses to get another 25. And I'm like, Andrea, just pay for Loom. Like, just pay. Like, you use it all the time. And I will say, we use it all the time. And again, documentation. I have a master Loom list of every Loom video we have, whether it's for staff or for training or for admin, so that I can easily reference if somebody needs something. I can be like, go to the Loom list. I'm sure there's a video on it. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody that's listening at home, I hope this inspires you to know that it's now easier than ever to go through this process. You don't have to go through the struggle that I went through of handwriting these notes and then transcribing
Exactly.
them when I got home. Utilize these
Exactly.
softwares.
Yes, that's the other thing that I started doing is I have started recording the meet and greets. And then I will go ahead and upload them to AI and just say, go ahead and listen to the screen recording and give me all the pet care notes. These are the things that I need to know. And it will go ahead and kick it out. And then I just cut and paste into Time to Pet, anything that needs to be updated. So it's great.
That is great. That's really great. We're both in the Dog Co Mastermind, and one of the perks of being in Michelle's Dog Co Mastermind is we get access to all of her SOPs, and there's countless documents.
So
So
many.
if you're feeling overwhelmed at home right now, thinking about documenting all your processes and learning how to use these softwares, you can sign up for Dogco and get these documents already pre-prepared for you. Then all you have to do is just edit them to fit your brand voice and the way that you operate. And that's another great way to go about it.
What does it take to scale your pet care business? My name's Michelle Klein. I'm the founder of Dogco Launch, where pet care companies come to grow and scale. And I want to send you a case study of how one of my clients took his monthly revenue in just 1 year from $17,000 to over $73,000. And yes, that is monthly revenue, not annual. To get this case study and to learn more about Dogco and what we do and how we help companies, go to dogcolaunch.com/case study.
Yeah, Michelle has been fantastic. I've been in her group now. I'll be finishing her program, my goodness, in January, I guess, and then I'll be continuing on with her scale. when she gave us the list of the SOPs, I was blown away. I mean, it was close to, I mean, I can't even tell you how many there were. And even though I had some of them, what I did was I put what I had in chat and then what she had in chat, and I said, tell me the differences. So I could see exactly where mine was different and whether I wanted to add, because she did just dog walking and I do pet sitting as well, to see, where I needed to add or subtract or whatever. So yeah, her SOPs are, and there's some SOPs I didn't even think of. Like, of course I need that SOP. Why do I not have that SOP? We need that SOP. And there it is. So just put your logo on top and read it over and make sure it works for your business and you're ready to go. Yeah, she's been
That's
great.
great. Yeah, yeah. That's great. Tell us, is there anything else that you would do differently if you could go back besides documenting more of your processes?
I would have started with Michelle earlier, definitely. We
Me
had a
too.
little, yeah, right? So I actually couldn't be in her cohort until when I started last year because she is in Winston-Salem, or her company was in Winston-Salem, which is near Greensboro, and there was a non-compete, so she couldn't coach me. But once that got lifted, I was able to be coached by her, and it's been fantastic. So I probably would have started with her earlier if I could have. But other than that, I think the training with the employees, I probably would have taken it a little bit slower just because what I think that they know or what I think is common sense isn't for everybody. Just little things like we just had an incident where an employee walked over a newly seeded yard. And the owner was like, you walked over I saw in the ring, you walked over the yard. And I was like, well, who would walk over a newly seeded yard? And I'm like, well, she lives in an apartment. She's probably never had a newly seeded yard. She didn't know that that's not something you go on. So, things like that. I mean, that's kind of nitpicky, but, some things that you think is just common sense. I remember one of my first employees, she never had a cat before. So I was training her and I was like, okay, do you want to do the litter? And she's like, sure, I'll scoop the litter. So she went and scooped. She's like, oh, there's nothing in there. I'm like, really? Yeah, there's 2 cats. It's been a day. I'm kind of surprised. And then I went in to scoop the litter and I was like, there's stuff in here. She's like, oh, I didn't realize it would be underneath. I thought it would be on top because she'd never had a cat before. So, I mean, just
Wow.
things like that, I would have been more thorough just because I don't know what they don't know and they don't know what they don't know. So, but anyway, it's been fun. I love my employees. I can't say enough about having a team. I have never had a bad employee. I might have somebody that it wasn't their cup of tea or that they moved right away. But other than that, everybody I've hired has stayed with me. So yeah, it's been great.
That's incredible.
Hmm.
That's really incredible.
Yeah.
I so agree with what you said about slowing down the training process also. I used to hire somebody and then just immediately drag them to a training visit with me,
Hmm.
with no real routine or
Yes.
structure around it. And over the years I've learned, no, we're going to sit down at the table, we're going to go through it
Yes.
classroom style. Then
Yep.
there's videos to watch online. You take a quiz at the end of the videos. Then we do training visits in person, followed by another sit down meeting. And I've
Yes.
really slowed it down to be hours long now. And it's saved my business, honestly, because we can
Yes.
avoid things like that happening with litter box issues or issues with keys or using the app, and all
Yes.
these things come up and people just don't know what we know, and that's
Right.
totally okay. We need to
Yes.
meet them where they're at and raise the bar for them, and we're all better together.
Yes. I totally agree. And the other thing too is as an owner, you don't want to be stressed, when you have a new employee out in the field or maybe 2 relatively new employees out in the field. You don't want to be sitting there biting your nails, wondering what they're doing and whether it's going to be correct. And again, Michelle helps out with that too. One of the things that she had as one of her SOPs was a post-trainee survey. So every day after a trainee is in the field, they fill out, it's the same survey, for their training, day 1, day 2, and day 3. And it just says, hey, what did you go over today? Go ahead and check this. How are you feeling? What are you confident in? What are you not confident in? And then I get that and I review that. And I'm like, okay, these are the things that they went over. These are the things they still need to do. And then I'll get with the trainer for the next day and be like, hey, this is, she's really comfortable with, the app, but she's not comfortable with Slack or what have you. So that's been a game changer as well. Just kind of staying on top of how the training is going. So Michelle has great ideas. She just really does. Things I wouldn't even have thought of.
For real, for real. I copied her survey also and implemented
Mhm.
it when I joined the mastermind, and I love it. I absolutely love it. The more feedback that we can get from our team just helps us improve and make things better for them, which
Yes.
increases our retention, which helps the bottom line, and it
Yes.
all starts flowing together to paint this big, beautiful picture that is our business.
Yes. And again, it goes back to because I was like, well, I don't want to pay them, 10 minutes for filling out a survey. And the trainers do one as well. And that probably takes them even a little bit longer because there's some more detailed questions about that in there. I'm like, well, I don't want to pay them extra 15 minutes. Yes, I do want to pay them an extra 15 minutes. It is money well spent. Like, yes, I do want to hear what's going on and have them take the time to fill that out thoroughly. So again, it's just knowing that I'm putting the money in, I'm investing, and my return is fantastic with my employees.
That's great. That's great. You said you've never had a bad hire and that so many of these wonderful people have stuck with you at Top
Mhm.
Tails.
Mhm.
Tell us, do you have any tips or tricks for finding these amazing people and retaining them? What's your
Gosh,
secret?
I don't know what it has. Again, I've had some people that I've responded to an Indeed ad, and they've been great. As I said, everybody's been great. But a lot of them, I will put it on my personal social media or I'll share my top tails. And because we're in a smaller area, like I just had my newest hire is a friend of a client. And she had just lost her job, 30 years in corporate travel. And she said to her friend, I'm just looking for something, part time. And my friend knew that or my client, who's also a friend, knew that she loved animals. So that's how I got that new employee. So sometimes I would say at least half it's word of mouth or they know me on Facebook or a friend of a friend. So that really helps. But I think that I really have started telling them it's okay. Like, I know this can get overwhelming. I know some visits, the key doesn't work, the door won't open, the dog's barking, get in there, there's a mess. It's a bad day. It's a bad visit. It's a bad day. And it's okay. Just take a deep breath. If you need to get on Slack and you need assistance, go ahead and get with admin. We will help you. And I think just really reinforcing that as long as the house is secure and the animals, everything else we can fix because it's going to be okay. And, even sometimes I have to remind myself that when I'm having a bad day, that it's going to be okay. You need to stop in between visits and get a coffee. It's okay. So I think that support really helps my employees as well.
So true. So true. I just onboarded a new employee earlier this morning, actually. And first thing that I say when I'm onboarding a new employee is I've made every mistake in the book. I am here when you make a mistake. You will make a mistake, and
Yes.
I can fix anything as long as you come to us and you're
Yes.
honest and
Honest.
transparent about it. But if you
Exactly.
try to hide it and I don't know about it, then I can't fix it.
Exactly. Exactly. Do you still do your initial onboarding with new employees? Like,
I
are you the
my
first person?
operations yeah, my operations manager, handles the majority of it, and then if I'm in town and available, I'll join and tag along and do what I can, but it's really my operations manager doing all of that now.
Okay. Yeah, I need to get one of those. I still do the initial first day. Just I like to be hands-on, but I probably need to give that over at some point in time, but not just yet. So,
Yeah, yeah, I held on to it for way longer than I probably should have.
mhm, mhm. I just feel like I need to get to know them and, I want to set the tone for the company. But if you have a good operations manager, they're going to do exactly that.
Yeah, exactly. And mine's been with me for 6 years now, so she
Oh,
knows
wow.
exactly my thought process on things and how I like things to be said and done, and she knows my mission for the business and my values, and so she can really step in and handle that for me.
That's
Um,
fantastic.
yeah, tell me a little bit about your day-to-day with your team. How many employees do you have, and what does your daily routine look like?
It's still pretty hands-on. Okay, it's very hands-on. I have 14 employees, and at the beginning of the year, I started with this she'd only been with me 3 or 4 months, but she expressed an interest in helping out more. So I didn't really have the process in place. Right now, for people that want to move up the top tails ladder, they will become a team trainer and then a team lead and then kind of helping with admin. She kind of skipped right ahead to admin, but she's fantastic. I am so grateful. Her name is Sarah, and she's just my right hand person now. So she will actually take over the business while I work on other things. She does that for about 10 hours a week, where I could conceivably put notifications off, where she's both doing admin and overseeing the team. So that is just 10 hours of being able to go to yoga class without notifications, things like that. Fantastic. And then she spends about another 15 hours a week. It's called manager on duty, where she just monitors things, making sure staff is where they're supposed to be and that type of thing. So that's kind of a little bit like a light admin. So she's doing that, and then plus she's still in the field. So has been a game changer this year. It's because we're just at a volume now. We do about between 150 and 200 visits a week. So we're just at a volume now that I just can't oversee everything and work on anything. So she's been fantastic. So normally I'm an early bird. I get up usually 5:30, run, and then I'm at my computer. And sometimes I'm still in the field. Most weeks I have between 5 or 10, sometimes 15 visits, just depending on the week. I try to stay out as much as I can, but I will take those last minutes, which I probably shouldn't do, but I will take a lot of last minute stuff. I'm in the field some, but otherwise, I'm working on things that Michelle's given us. I'm doing our social media, although I've hired somebody to help me out with that now. So working on the scheduling, I do all the scheduling. That's really hard to hand off, just because I feel like I know where the clients are. I know the area. So still a lot of hands on, and I work 7 days a week as a small business owner, but I absolutely love my job. I enjoy it. Like, I am so excited when I have 5 hours and I can just sit with my computer. It is the best. I didn't know what a workaholic was until I started this job, and I adore it. So yeah, it's great.
I couldn't agree more. I'm totally in the same boat. My friends make fun of me for never taking a day off and working long hours every day, but it's what I enjoy. If I'm not working and doing these things with my business and with my clients, I almost feel lost. So
Yes.
I can definitely relate with you. And sounds like you have a perfect schedule to me, honestly, to be able to work on the admin, have some administrative help as well, but still do 5, 10 visits a week. I mean, that's a beautiful
Perfect.
schedule.
Yes, it is. It is perfect. And, my kids are older now. I still have one at home, but I can still rearrange my time. If I want to go do something, I can do it because I'm not in an office. Being a small business owner, is difficult. It's hard work, but the trade-off is the flexibility, and I wouldn't trade that for anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me either. Do you have any other tips or tricks or advice for us? Anything else you want to mention?
I was thinking about that. One thing that I just started doing in the last couple of months is setting a timer on my phone. So, because I will get into things and just do them forever. So, like, okay, I want to work on the newsletter. Well, I can work on that newsletter for hours to get, the perfect font, the picture just right, different layouts. And I'm like, no, we're going to do a half an hour. You can do this in a half an hour. You have most of it done. You just need to perfect it. So I'll set a timer on my phone. And when the timer goes off, some music plays. And I will tell you that has so helped me because it's a half an hour. I'm focused, and it makes me do it, move, don't answer that email. Don't do that because you only have half an hour. And if you don't get it done, this newsletter is not going out. So I have started doing that it's not exactly time blocking, but it sort of is. But it's amazing. Yeah, set that timer and get it done. So I will say that's been good.
Heck yeah, that's a time management win right there. That's
Hmm.
awesome
Exactly.
advice.
Exactly. And you can use it in your personal life too. Like, I need to clean out that closet. I really don't want to, but I can do it for 20 minutes. So set your timer. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I set a timer for all kinds of tasks, especially in my personal life.
Hmm.
I put everything on my time to pet schedule, time to write the newsletter, time to post a blog, or whatever the case may be. I actually plug it in as drop-in visits that I'm forced to clock in and clock out of on time to pet.
Wow.
That way, yeah, it really helps hold me accountable, and then it gives me the extra layer of my operations manager seeing that as well, and I know she's
Yes.
gonna call me out if she sees me not clocked into the right
Oh, that's
task at the right
perfect.
time, and
That is
yeah,
perfect. And then you can't be scheduled for certain things in there too. That's a great
right.
idea.
Yeah,
I
and
didn't
then we
think
have
about
that
that.
timer going on time to pet, so it all comes
Yes.
together full circle there.
Yes, and you get the warning, 5 minutes left.
Yep.
You better get going. Yeah, and speaking of time to pet, I did do ti I actually started with Precise Pet Care for about a month and then switched over time to pet, but I don't see how anybody could hire without, some type of software like that. Again, it's pricey, but it really will help you grow. Otherwise, I yeah, the thing I tell clients at meet and greets is once you get on our schedule on time to pet, we will never not be at your house when we say we are because I get bells, dings, whistles if somebody is 20 minutes late, and they do as well. So it's just, again, the peace of mind that with the schedule, I know people are going to be where they're supposed to be. And if they're not, I'm going to be told by my software.
Yeah, Time to Pet is a game changer.
Hmm.
Pet sitting software in general. When I started hiring back in 2014, I don't think I had any software. I was making their schedule like on paper calendars, and then we're all in like a group chat, texting the clients and texting each
Wow.
other in these group chats, and it was a hot mess on a good day. I used Leash Time and then Pet Check, and then I eventually got hooked up with Time to Pet, I think in 2018. And
Wow.
I've been with Time to Pet ever since then, and it is incredible. I
It
could
is.
not do what I do and operate my team at the size it is without Time to Pet.
Yes. Yes. It's great. I will always have
Yeah.
time to pet. Even if something
Yeah.
better comes out, I will be using time to pet because I know how to use it.
Right, right. This is not a paid Time to Pet plug, but I will
No.
mention that if you're interested in joining Time to Pet and you would like a small discount code, I do have one and I will include it in the podcast notes. So you can go check that out.
I just think it's just very popular in our industry. And it doesn't matter. You can use a different one. I know people that use Precise and are very happy, but whatever you use, just use it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It was so great getting to talk to you, Andrea. This was
Thank you, Doug.
wonderful. I know everyone listening at home will feel inspired and hopefully be able to document their processes a little bit faster and easier than it was for me because we learned from you today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I look forward to working with you next year with Michelle. I think that's going to be great. Get my hiring process smoothed out. So I'm excited. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, before we wrap up, tell everyone how they can learn more about you and get in contact with you.
So I just redid my website. I'm very excited. It's all my brand colors, and I added in pink as a brand color because I like pink, and I can do that because I own a
Nice.
business. So yeah, it's just www.toptailsofgreensboro.com if you want to look at the website. And then we're on socials, just Instagram and Facebook right now, but just Top Tails of Greensboro. If you put that in, you'll find us.
Awesome. I'll include that link down in the podcast notes below. Thank you so much for making time to talk to us today. This was incredible. With that, my name's Doug the Dog Guy. This is Andrea, and we are reminding you to stay positive.